I remember seeing the Jonathan Miller Rigoletto before I was actually singing professionally. It was back in the early 80s, and at the time I was teaching in Crowborough, and my wife and I had a subscription to the Coliseum. So we would come up regularly on a Friday or Saturday night at the end of a long week to see something special in English. And there were certain productions that we saw which made a real impact, and the Rigoletto was one of the main ones. I'd seen a couple of productions prior to that, but there was something unique about this to do with the setting of it in New York, the updating, that really struck a chord. And it's just so lovely to come back just a few years later with a chance to sing it. I think in particular there's something about having the court of the Duke set in New York with men in suits, with something very chilling and very cold about that setup. You can think of film references like The Godfather or Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction, that there's this hint of violence and hint of menace, which sometimes doesn't have to be overstated. It can just be there and the audience is aware of it in a very chilling way. Obviously, the role of Rigoletto is one of the most famous in the Verdi baritone repertoire, if not in any operatic repertoire. And it is an immensely rewarding and rich role to sing, because you have so many opportunities to show so many different sides of this character. On the one hand, you have this vile, revolting jester who deliberately provokes people to the point of violence. He encourages the menace, and he encourages the Duke to create this atmosphere of hedonism and sadism and unpleasantness. And at the same time, there's this loving, doting father, doting to the point of oppression almost. And it's trying to find the combination between a man who is, on the one hand, soft and gentle and pathetic, in the true meaning of the word pathetic, and at the same time, obnoxious and horrible and vile. I'm not sure if, in fact, he is a good man, in inverted commas, and I think ultimately he's a bad man who sings the most beautiful music, which in a sense is even more interesting for the audience, because if you feel a connection with this man for this wonderful outpouring of gorgeous music, are you falling in sympathy with a monster? And it's a question that each individual has to answer for themselves.